Point Park basketball makes its debut, women's soccer gets shut out again, and the WNBA finals come to a close. It's time to come on down to Pioneer Sideline. Good evening and welcome to Pioneer Sideline. I'm your host, Bryn Reese. To start, Point Park men's basketball kicked off their season on Tuesday in an exhibition match against the Pitt Panthers. While the matchup didn't affect either team's records, we saw 5 new players make their Point Park debuts. The Pioneers are coming off their winningest season in school history, going 30-3 to win the River States Conference Championship. Going into this season, the team graduated a majority of their starting rotation, including top-scoring duo Jalen Stamps and Joe Valerie. Now this year, the Pioneers add 7 new players to their main roster, including 6 transfers and 1 first-year. Returners include centers Jags Jawar and Nazareth Fisher, guards Nate Van and Darren Ayanambazi, and former Red Shirts Lance Singh and Daniel Felix. Coach Kevin Reynolds shared last week that because of inconsistent practice time and an extremely slow start in the weight room, the starting lineup would be a game-time decision. Reynolds said, quote, "We've had some growing pains, to be honest. We didn't come into camp with the same conditioning or lifting that last year's team came in with," end quote. The starting 5 consisted of Jawar, Fisher, Van, and transfers Caden Warner and Aiden Anderson. Things started off promising for the Pioneers as they were close behind the Panthers for the entire first half, going into halftime with an 8-point deficit at 50-42. However, the Pioneers got a little too ahead of themselves in the second, scoring only 20 points as the Panthers scored a massive 43 points to win the game 93-62. It's safe to say that in the second half, things completely fell apart for the Pioneers. Point Park went 48.6% from the field in the first, then went 28.1% in the second. They also answered 1 out of 13 threes in the second half after making 45% of their threes in the first. Reynolds shared how playing against a highly competitive D1 school would hopefully open his players' eyes as they enter a more difficult conference. He shared, quote, "It's a great test for us. We need to see who's going to compete at that level." Now, freshman Aiden Anderson was a for sure standout in the game, playing 24 minutes and recording 10 points and 5 rebounds in his collegiate debut. The top scorer for the Pioneers was Warner, the transfer from Rio Grande, with 13 points and 5 assists. Warner's game, however, came into an unexpected halt after exiting the court in the second half due to injury. The Pioneers begin their regular season next month, competing in the Millersville Conference Challenge on November 9th. Then they start MEC play against Glenville State on November 14th at home. Now we have Ryan Quinn reporting on Point Park Soccer's recent games. Ryan?
Thanks, Bryn. The Pioneers men's and women's team both had games last Sunday, the women's hosting the Charleston Golden Eagles and the men visiting the Wheeling Cardinals. Starting off with the women's team, it wasn't their best effort, suffering a 4-0 loss to the Golden Eagles in their whiteout game. After 1 goal by the Cardinals in the first half, Point Park was looking to bounce back, but those hopes shattered after 3 goals in the second half. The Pioneers were outshot, with 20 from Charleston and 11 coming from Point Park. Paula Soul was able to lead the Pioneers in shots with 3, 2 also being on goal. Goalkeeper Reese Cawthon was able to stop some of the damage, coming away with 5 saves in the game. This loss results in the 4th straight for the Pioneers and their 3rd shutout in a row. Point Park's record is now at 2 wins, 8 losses, 3 draws, and are last in the MEC North Division. On to the men, they were unable to capture a win on the road, losing 1-0 to Wheeling and giving the Cardinals their first win on the season. The lone goal came in the first minute of the second half. The shot advantage was barely won by Wheeling, being 11-10. Point Park did have more shots on goal, though, with 5 coming of their own compared to Wheeling's 3. The leading shooter for the Pioneers were Cherokee Briard with 3, 2 of which being on goal. There was an abundance of fouls during the game, a total of 18, with 9 of each coming from both teams. This also resulted in 7 yellow cards being issued. Like the women's team, this loss was the 4th straight for the men, putting their record at 5 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw, and 7th in the MEC. Both teams look to break both of these streaks as they play at Highmark this Wednesday, flipping opponents as the men play the University of Charleston and the women play Wheeling University. Back to you at the desk, Bryn.
Thanks, Ryan. After the break, more on Point Park sports from this past week. Stay tuned. Switching gears to volleyball, Point Park suffered a tough non-conference loss against Seton Hill in 4 sets on Tuesday. This marks the Pioneers' 13th loss of the season to put them at 5-13 overall. Now, Seton Hill kicked things off, winning 2 straight sets. The Griffins took set 1 25-17 as they held a steady lead after 4 kills from Katie Floor and many attack errors from Point Park. The Griffins continued into set 2, taking yet another early lead triggered by constant kills from Seton Hill and 6 attack errors from Point Park's Julia Follador. Set 2 ended 25-16. Entering set 3, the Pioneers did not want the Griffins to walk away with the sweep. The Griffins led the entire set, increasing it up to 6 points. Then the Pioneers went on a 13-4 run to tie things up 20-20. Point Park kept it going to win the set with a 25-22 margin. Seton Hill closed the match out in the 4th and final set to win 25-18. The Griffins took a quick 5-2 lead and held it steady through the end of the game. Now, Point Park racked up 9 service aces, 3 from Follador and Rochelle Tassari each. Seton Hill led in kills with 59, staggering over the Pioneers' 41 kills. Eden McElhaney recorded a triple-double with 12 kills, 18 assists, and 13 digs in the match to lead the Pioneers. Follador ended with 11 kills and 9 digs. Rochelle Tassari contributed 17 assists, and Mia Arndt recorded 12 digs as libero. Point Park returns to MEC play on Friday, hosting the University of Charleston in the Student Center at 7 p.m. The Pioneers are 3-4 in the Mountain East. Now that's all for Point Park sports. Next, we have Ryan Jones reporting on what's new in Pittsburgh sports. Ryan?
Thanks, Bryn. Earlier this week, there was a lot of action for Pittsburgh sports. Starting off with the Penguins, a bit of a rocky start to their season at 3-4-1, as the team is trying to build up some momentum for the upcoming weeks. All seemed rough except for the 2 superstars, Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. Both of them reached huge milestones in last Wednesday's 6-5 overtime win against the Buffalo Sabres. Sidney Crosby getting his 1,600th point in the first period of the game with an assist on Brian Rust's power play goal. Sid is the 10th player in NHL history and the only player active to reach that milestone. Evgeny Malkin also scored his 500th career goal in the dying minutes of that game to help the Pens make it to overtime to then eventually win that game. Gino is one of 4 active players in the NHL to hit that goal mark. The Penguins head to Edmonton on Friday to face the Oilers. The Pitt Panthers football team is now 6-0. This is the first time they've reached that record since 1982. Freshman quarterback Eli Holstein hoping to boost the Panthers to another win this Thursday against Syracuse. The Steelers advanced to 5-2 as they are still holding on to their top position in the AFC North. They defeated the Jets 37-15 Sunday night in Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson as the Steelers quarterback for the first time this season. After having a rocky start, Russ finished the game with 2 touchdowns and 264 overall yards. Steelers running back Najee Harris was another huge part to the Steelers' win, finishing with 1 touchdown and 102 yards. The Steelers will most likely start Russell Wilson next week against the Giants. Back to you, Bryn.
Thanks, Ryan. Now this Saturday, we have a very busy day for Point Park sports as the cross-country team kicks things off bright and early as they compete in the MEC Championships in Wheeling, West Virginia. At Highmark Stadium, we have a doubleheader with women's soccer facing Frostburg State at 11, followed by men's soccer facing the Bobcats as well at 1:30 p.m. Over in the Student Center, volleyball competes against West Virginia State at 1. All home games are free for Point Park students, and Mountain East away games are available for free on mountaineast.tv. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates on Point Park and regional sports, and as always, go Pioneers! Now after the break, more of what's happening in the sports world. Don't go anywhere. Take them, cue them, open their mics.
Today marked the 1-year anniversary of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette strike.
Point Park University just hosted a campus-wide meeting.
Plans for the rapid transit bus line are not set to conclude until 2025.
Welcome back. Now, what's happening in pro sports? Gabe Ebersol joins us with an update on Week 7 in the NFL. Gabe?
Thanks, Bryn. This NFL season is flying by, with Week 7 now coming to an end. Let's see what went down. Starting with a heavyweight matchup, the 4-1 Lions and undefeated Vikings crossed paths for the first time this season. With first place in a hotly contested NFC North on the line, the Stars were shining for Detroit. Jahmyr Gibbs carried for 116 in a pair of scores, while Amon-Ra St. Brown brought in 8 passes for 112, including a 35-yard touchdown. The Vikings looked like they might pull off a miracle when they grabbed a 1-point lead with just 6 minutes left. They did this while down 5 on defense, returning a David Montgomery fumble to the house. But Detroit would march down the field. Jake Bates pins the kick for the win. The Lions storm into U.S. Bank Stadium and steal a division lead 31-29. Fans anticipating the big game rematch probably didn't expect to see 0 scores through the air. Not for lack of effort, though, as Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy combined for 5 interceptions. Purdy doubled down on the ground with 2 rushing touchdowns, while Mahomes flatlined rookie Niners safety Malik Mustafa for one of his own. But the X factor of the game would be Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt, staying hot and finding the end zone twice. Kansas City stays undefeated, while the Niners drop below 500, 28-18. The Texans attempted to conquer Northern Land at Lambeau, but Captain C.J. Stroud didn't come armed in this one. Held to just 86 yards on 21 passing attempts and sacked 4 times, Joe Mixon took on the focal role of the attack with 115 yards and 2 scores. Incredibly, Houston was able to nail a field goal to take a 1-point lead with just 1:44 remaining, but the defense couldn't hold the weight. Jordan Love hooks up with Romeo Doubs for a pair of passes on the final drive, and in his first game in Packers green and cheddar, Brandon McManus walks it off 24-22. Both teams leave the game at 5-2. Vikings look to bounce back against the Rams in LA on Thursday night. Watch out for Cooper Kupp in his return. The MLB playoffs are in the final stretch, and Edmi Idalis has an update. Edmi?
Thanks, Gabe. Major League Baseball is now in its final stages of the postseason. The championship series wrapped up on Sunday, October 20th, eliminating the Cleveland Guardians and New York Mets. The New York Yankees and Cleveland Guardians finished in 5 games, with the Yankees winning the series 4-1. The Yankees' only loss of the series was Game 3. They won the other 4 with the scores of 5-2, 6-3, 8-6, and 5-2. As for the Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Mets, who played a total of 6 games, the Dodgers won the series 4-2. The Mets held their own against the Dodgers, but when the Dodgers were strong, they dominated, with winning scores of 9-0, 8-0, 10-2, and 10-5. The Mets won the second and fifth games with scores of 7-3 and 12-6. The long-awaited World Series is finally here. The Yankees and Dodgers are set to go head-to-head with their first game on Friday, October 25th. The series opens with the favorite being the Dodgers winning in 6 games. Starting pitchers for the first game of the World Series are set to be Garrett Cole for the Yankees and Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers. The Dodgers and Yankees have had a long-standing rivalry, with their first battle in the World Series dating back to 1941, where the Yankees won 4-1. This World Series will mark the 12th meeting in their shared history. Their current win-loss record for the World Series is 8-3, Yankees with a strong lead against the Dodgers. The last time they were both in the World Series together was in 1981, where the Dodgers beat the Yankees 4-2. The Dodgers will have their eyes set on winning their 8th World Series title, while the Yankees will be looking for their 28th. The last trip to the World Series for the Dodgers was only 4 years ago in 2020, where they won 4-2 against the Tampa Bay Rays. As for the Yankees, their last appearance in the World Series was more than a decade ago in 2009, where they played against the Philadelphia Phillies and won 4-2. Megan Lukic is in the studio to break down how the NHL and the Columbus Blue Jackets honored the passing of Johnny Hockey. Megan?
Thanks, Edmi. On August 29th, Columbus Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew tragically passed away in a bicycle accident in their home state of New Jersey. The hockey world has since joined the Gaudreau family in mourning and celebrating the lives of Johnny and Matthew following the tragedy. Tribute videos were played before every NHL team's home opener, and players have donned a special decal on their helmets. Last Tuesday, on October 15th, the Columbus Blue Jackets were set to have their home opener against the Florida Panthers. The night was expected to be nothing short of emotional as the teams prepared to honor Johnny and Matthew prior to the game. In the concourse of Nationwide Arena, a memorial was set up for Johnny Gaudreau and allowed fans to pay their respects throughout the evening. Johnny's wife, Meredith, and her children attended the memorial before the game. The Florida Panthers players each carried purple Gatorade and a bag of Skittles, two of Johnny's favorites, as they arrived at the arena for the game. The gesture was organized by Johnny's good friend and former teammate with the Calgary Flames, Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk was not able to join his team for this game due to an illness. In a statement posted to the Florida Panthers Instagram page, Tkachuk said, quote, "Johnny was a huge part of the hockey community, but to me, he was much more than that. A great friend, teammate, and family man," end quote. Both the Blue Jackets and the Panthers wore special jerseys during pregame warm-ups, each one with Gaudreau's name and number 13 on the back. Following warm-ups and pregame introductions, the Gaudreau family, including Matthew and Johnny's mom, dad, and sisters, as well as Johnny's wife and kids, were brought out onto the ice. Meredith and the kids stood with Blue Jackets forward Sean Monahan, who was also former teammates with Johnny in Calgary, as a number 13 banner was raised to the rafters of Nationwide Arena. When the puck dropped, the Blue Jackets kept the left wing position, the position Johnny Gaudreau played, empty. Sean Monahan passed the puck over to Panthers forward Sam Bennett, who settled the puck in the vacant left wing spot. The game clock ran for 13 seconds before stopping, leading to a standing ovation from the crowd in one last moment of celebration for the Gaudreau brothers. The Blue Jackets were not able to come out on top in this game, losing 4-3 to the Panthers. However, Monahan did put up a goal, and as he celebrated the goal, he pointed straight to Johnny Gaudreau's banner, dedicating the goal to him. It is certainly an understatement to say that the hockey world will forever miss Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. The WNBA Finals have come to an end. Angelo Esposito is here to tell us who raised the trophy this season. Angelo?
Thanks, Megan. On Sunday, the 2024 WNBA season officially wrapped up, with the New York Liberty behind Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart winning their first championship in franchise history. The Liberty beat the Minnesota Lynx 67-62 in overtime and won the series 3-2. Of the original 8 WNBA teams, the New York Liberty, Los Angeles Sparks, and the Phoenix Mercury are the only 3 teams left. Out of the 3 teams, the Liberty were the only team that have never won a championship, and now they have their first. But there is controversy over whether the Minnesota Lynx were robbed of another championship. The Lynx were up 60-58 with 6 seconds left when officials called a foul on Minnesota's Alana Smith for contact against Liberty's Breanna Stewart. With the foul being called, it led to Stewart going to the free throw line and making 2 free throws to tie the game. During the press conference after the game, Minnesota's head coach, Cheryl Reeve, was heated about the foul call and said the call, quote, decided the game and the WNBA championship was stolen from us, end quote. She also told reporters, quote, the officials during the game should have a third party because that was not a foul. That call should have been reversed on that challenge, end quote. More news on the WNBA. On Monday, it was announced that WNBA players have agreed to opt out of their collective bargaining agreement, their CBA, and could face work stoppage if a deal does not get done by the end of the 2025 season. The current deal was set to expire in 2027, but players had until November 1st to opt out. Some areas players would like to see improvement in are salaries, retirement plans, better childcare, and family planning benefits. WNBPA Vice President in Las Vegas Aces guard Kelsey Plum said, quote, this isn't some sudden wake-up call. It's the culmination of what we've been driving for over the last several seasons, end quote. That's all from me and the rest of us. Back to you at the desk, Bryn.
Thanks, everyone. When we come back, we discuss our World Series predictions. Don't go anywhere.
It's a tough crowd.
Welcome back. The World Series pairing has been decided as the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers face off starting on Friday. But who will come out on top? I'm here with Peyton Celesti, Jake Levinsky, and Nick Shermito to discuss this topic. So to start, I want to hear each of you guys' predictions. Who's winning the World Series? Peyton, we'll start with you.
So first of all, I think this is a great matchup for the league. It has all the superstars and more in this matchup. Dodgers-Yankees is an historic rivalry. They've been in 11 World Series together, as Edmee said previously. But, when I look at the New York Yankees and I see who they played in the playoffs, the Guardians, the Royals,
We can't control
and when
that. We can't
let me
control
finish. Excuse me. Let me finish.
You lost 2 games to
Just
those
let
teams.
him finish.
Yeah, it's my turn. Okay. So the Guardians and the Royals, not great teams, let's be honest. And then you look at who the Dodgers played, the Padres, who I think were a World Series contender. That could have went either way. They're battle tested, and they have the best star in the league, and that's Shohei Ohtani. I think it's going to be a very close series. I have the Dodgers in 6. But when I look at both of these teams, and I look at the Yankees of the past and the Yankees of today, this Yankees team just doesn't scare me as much as the Dodgers.
This Yankee team is healthy more than ever it has before. And guys are contributing. Gleyber Torres, Anthony Rizzo. Judge is going to bounce back.
Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
Anthony Rizzo.
He's batting over 400 in the playoffs right now.
But I look at the bottom half of the Yankees lineup. I look at the bottom half of the Dodgers lineup. I like the Dodgers lineup a lot better.
I like our pitching.
And here's
better.
the biggest key,
I don't.
Jake. Here's the biggest key. The Dodgers back end of their bullpen. There are 3 guys: Trinan, Phillip Evans, or Evan, I forget his name. Evan Phillips, and Michael Kopech. I'm not talking about Clase. You look at what those guys have done in the postseason. They have the best back end in the bullpen in this series. I can't trust the back end of the Yankees bullpen. You got Luke Weaver. I mean, he's been good, but I really trust him? Clay Holmes. I mean, he's now almost like a 6th inning guy. That's how bad he's become. And then you have, but then the guys that are doing well, it's like Tim Hill, and then your buddy.
We may not have the big names, but it's whoever's hot in the postseason, and we're hot.
Oh, you have the big names. The problem is after Judge and Soto.
I'm talking about the bullpen, the big names.
Okay, you two, listen. Listen, Peyton, you really gonna be on here and dog my man in his Yankees team?
He dogged me. He interrupted.
Oh, I'm gonna dog him too. Listen. No, you listen here, buddy.
I barely started my conversation.
No,
what I was saying.
Didn't play anyone good.
Listen, you didn't play anyone good. You didn't play anyone good. Peyton's right.
The Guardians won their division.
Go ahead, Nick.
You know what? I will go ahead. The Dodgers have a better lineup than you guys do. I'm sorry. Yeah, you thought it was on your side? No, I'm not.
Okay.
The Dodgers, they have better depth. Kiki Hernandez, he's a star. He's a dog.
He's an average player in the postseason.
He's hit what, 14 home runs?
He's not incredibly reliable, however.
But he's a postseason dog. He's a postseason dog.
See, exactly. The bullpen better than yours. Your closers are horrible, buddy.
Right?
No, it doesn't. It comes down to bullpen.
We have a better
bullpen.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You
You literally don't. Listen to Peyton here. Clay Holmes sucks.
We're not even going to play Clay Holmes.
Pirates legend Clay Holmes.
Clay Holmes. I watched this guy give up a bomb to
and that was the last time we saw the
John
field.
Kingsley Noel.
Listen, I don't think the Dodgers are going to dominate. I think it's going to be a very close series.
And
but
Freddie
who
Freeman's
do
coming
I
back
fear
game
more,
one.
and whose bullpen do I trust more?
Freddie
and that's the
Freeman's also
Dodgers,
coming
and that's
back
what it
game
comes.
one.
And who has the best star? Ohtani. Now Soto is unbelievable.
He is.
But
And
Judge, what has Judge done this postseason?
Nothing. Hit 2 home runs or something. That's not that
what
good.
is your
That's
response
not
to that,
We've
Jake?
gone this far without Judge. He's going to heat up. He's the captain of this team. He's going to come up.
Well, he better heat up, or things are going to get ugly.
He better heat up. I mean, it's a World Series we're talking
We're going to need him.
You're going to need him. You're going to need him, and I don't know if he will heat up, and I don't know if that will happen for you guys.
For a guy who's hit over 50 home runs twice in his career, we can't doubt that ability from Judge, right?
It's just late.
No, I'm just saying, if he doesn't get going, I trust Ohtani, obviously, a lot more.
Absolutely. Ohtani's the best player in baseball.
I mean, Stan came up clutch multiple times. He won the ALCS MVP. I mean, we do have guys other than Judge. I mean,
okay, but so the Dodgers are better players than Ohtani. They have Freddie Freeman. They have Mookie Betts, who's made 2 World Series appearances, so he knows what it takes to win a World Series. I mean, he has that experience.
We're used to Mookie. We're gonna handle him. We've seen him a lot.
What
Boston.
you told me earlier? What 16 home runs against the Yankees in his
Boone's
career?
Gonna adjust. The boys are going to be buzzing in the Bronx, and the Yankees are going to win this game.
Well, I'll tell you what.
How many?
I'll tell you what, Jake.
5
That
games in front of the greatest.
5 games.
5.
this series is going 6 or 7 regardless.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Listen, the Yankees, sure, they could pull it out, but if they do, it's going to be in 7. Dodgers, I agree with Peyton 100% here. It'll be in 6 or 7. No way the series goes 5 games or less, in my opinion.
You know, Jake, Dodger blue looks pretty good on you.
It does look pretty good on
I
you.
have to say.
I don't think so.
Well,
Why do you think it's going to end in 5? Do
Yeah,
you
what's
really
the
think
reasoning?
Yankees are going to
Because
dominate?
The Dodgers won't be able to hand the Bronx fans. The Bronx Zoo is going to be electric.
Oh, the Bronx fans.
Oh,
the Bronx fans. Oh, Shiver. Shohei
my
Ohtani, he's having nightmares
The
at
Dodgers
night.
fans, they don't watch the team until the postseason comes.
You haven't watched the game since the postseason.
I don't think you've watched many Dodgers games.
This
I'm
guy's
afraid.
watched the Yankees game since the
They
postseason.
can say that. I pay attention to this team.
Dodgers were in New York a lot lately, so they know what New York is like.
And that's
Yeah.
true. We're going to wrap it up on that and see how it goes, see how the World Series will go for the New York Yankees, because that is all the time we have this week. Be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer channel, and the same Pioneer Sideline.